Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Presidency School's Career Discovery and AI Career Navigator Workshop. We're going to get started in just about 2 or 3 minutes, just waiting for a couple of more folks to join in. 12:05 is exactly when we'll get started. Just about 1 minute more, ladies and gentlemen, and we're going to get started. For all the folks here, this session is primarily for parents of kids who are in class 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So if only the students have joined, please do go and bring your parents or send them the link. Both parents and kids can join, of course, but it's primarily focused on the content, the conversation on parents, where all of us come together and figure out how do we help our kids make more informed career choices. So 1 minute more and we should get started. All right, fantastic. It's 12:05, ladies and gentlemen. Let us get going. I'm just going to spotlight myself for everyone. All right. Welcome to Presidency School's AI Career Navigator Workshop, everybody. Thank you all for taking the time out and joining us here today. I'm Nikhar Arora. I'm the founder and CEO of Mentoria, which is a career discovery and mentorship platform, and I'm going to be your host for the session today. Extremely grateful to the principal, the management, and the staff at Presidency Schools to organize this session. I think it's very clear to all of us that making the right career and educational decisions, especially in such a complex and ever changing environment and world, is very, very difficult. Choosing the right streams, choosing the right boards, choosing the right subjects, figuring out what are the right entrance exams, the right colleges, the right pathways. These are all very, very complicated decisions to make. And I know that they cause a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of frustration on our minds. And we're here to reduce some of that stress and frustration. We're here to ensure that how can our children live immensely happy, meaningful, and productive lives in careers that they absolutely love, in careers that are future proof, in careers that are relevant in this world of ever evolving artificial intelligence, technology, and automation. And that's what today's session is going to be all about, the next 60 to 70 minutes that we spend together. This is going to be an extremely interactive session, which means that I'm going to keep asking you questions, your thoughts, your opinions throughout the course of the session. At any point of time, if something is unclear, you can put messages on the chat box. Towards the end, we're going to have a live Q&A session for any questions that any of you may have. Now, before I get started, a quick background about me. So I started Mentoria 11 years ago. And the reason I started Mentoria is because I had personally had a very convoluted journey of career discovery. When I was in class 8, 9, and when most kids are in class 8, 9, everybody around them starts asking the same question: what do you want to do in your life? And what do you want to grow up and become? And so on and so forth. And I'd seen this amazing TV show called Sara Akash, which was about Air Force pilots in India. And I saw that show and I was very inspired by it. And so whenever somebody asked me, what do you want to do in your life? I said, I want to become an Air Force pilot because, it looks like a really cool career. About a year and a half later, I got specs and I realized I can't become an Air Force pilot. And so then when people started asking me the same question, I said, okay, I want to become a commercial pilot because, it seemed like that's something that I could do. Now, when my grandfather, as I reached class 10, asked me the same question, he said, what do you want to do? What do you want to grow up and become? And I said, I want to become a pilot. And he looked at me with a lot of angst and unhappiness. And he said, you're going to become a driver? And that really changed my as a kid. Kids are as kids, we're all influenceable. That really changed my own worldview on what does a pilot do, because it is a designated driver to a large group of people. And I told myself, oh no, I can't become a driver. And so I started studying for engineering in class 11th and 12th, completely eliminating whatever dreams or whatever thoughts I had in my mind with respect to what career I wanted to get into. When I was in class 11th and 12th, all my friends were studying for engineering or medicine. And so I'd signed up for a IIT JEE preparation course as well. And 6 months into that entrance exam preparation course, I realized that I was unhappy, dissatisfied, frustrated, not really enjoying the studies that I was doing. Not because engineering is bad, because I wasn't meant for it. And so 6 months of doing the engineering coaching, I realized, sorry, I cannot do this. Now, after 11th and 12th, I told my parents, because parents again came and said, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to become a filmmaker. And my parents were shocked. They were like, from Air Force pilot to commercial pilot to engineering to now filmmaking. What is this guy up to? But they were supportive. So they said, okay, become a filmmaker. So I made films for about a year and a half, worked in advertising and marketing for another year and a half, at some of the best agencies in the world. And by the time I reached final year of college, I was studying in St. Xavier's College in Bombay. By the time I reached final year, again, I was completely confused as to what is it that I really wanted to do next. And I thought to myself, I must be a really stupid kid. I have no idea what I want to do. So many changes I've made from engineering to film to ads, and I still don't know what I want to do. Maybe some of my friends have figured it out. So I started speaking to a lot of my friends, a lot of my classmates, final year students in college, only to realize that they were facing the same problem that I was, which is that none of them, at least 80-90% of them, had no idea what they wanted to do for a living, no idea what careers they wanted to pursue, why they were studying the course that they were studying. There was just an acute amount of confusion and misinformation and lack of clarity in terms of what to do next. And I said, okay, final year students in college, most of us have no idea what we want to do, which means something is fundamentally going wrong in terms of how are we all making career choices. And that prompted me to start off a year-long research project where I traveled across the country, metros, tier one, tier two, tier three, tier four cities, met with maybe 30, 40,000 students and parents just to understand how do kids make career choices? How do parents make career choices for their children? And in that year-long research, I realized that India was facing a massive problem, which is that most kids had no idea how to choose the right career. There was so much pressure, so much misinformation, so much anxiety in this entire process of how do I make the right career choice that most people ended up making the wrong decision and then regretting it in the latter half of their life. And so that's when in 2015, me and a few others decided to start Mentoria to say, can we mentor students right from class 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or college, mentor them for a 6, 8, 9 year journey until they get into a job that they absolutely love or work that they absolutely love. Can we guide them along that entire way? And from 2015 to today, we now work with 3,75,000 students in class 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 college, as well as working professionals, guiding them towards careers that they're deeply passionate about. And so that's a little bit about why we started Mentoria, a little bit about my background, right? So I'm just going to share my screen with you all to continue on our discussion. Request you all to open the chat box and let me know if my screen is visible to everybody clearly, right? So just type in a yes on the chat box if you can see my screen. Yes. All right. Fantastic. I'm going to go full screen now. Super. So, welcome again to Presidency School's Career Discovery and Mentorship Program powered by Mentoria. Um, So the school did quite a bit of due diligence before choosing us as the partner to take on this very critical responsibility of children's careers and education pathways. And it is only because Mentoria has worked with so many students and professionals over the course of the last 11 years is why we were chosen to be here to do this workshop and to help all of you recognize how our kids can navigate this complex world of career decision making, especially in a world where AI is changing the future of work so rapidly. In addition to 3,75,000 students, Mentoria also works with 240 corporates, from a Ernst& Young to a Wipro to Bajaj to Reliance to Cisco to different kinds of companies, where we take care of the career guidance and mentorship of the employees' children who are in class 7 to 12 as well as college. So, like an employee benefit or a well being program, we work with employees' kids across all of these organizations. And we've been working with governments and foundations and NGOs and over 150 schools and colleges across the country. A lot of top schools in Bangalore, from a Whitefield to a Dean's Academy to DPS Bangalore East to Sherwood, different kinds of institutions and parents, with the only goal of how do we help kids navigate career choices. How do we give them enough information, their parents enough information to be able to make informed career decisions? Right? So that's a little bit about our background. I thought I'd share that with you such that you know why you ought to be investing the next 60, 70 minutes of your time in this workshop or in this conversation and the kind of value and credibility that we're going to bring in. So let's get started, ladies and gents. Now, I know that every single one of you as parents, right? All of you work incredibly hard every day for one goal and objective. Each of you want your kids to live an immensely successful life. And every parent does that, right? They work really hard to ensure that their kids lead a better, happier, more successful life than them. So I have a simple question to all of you in the audience, all the parents in the audience, right? How do you describe a successful life for your child? When you imagine that your child is going to be very, very successful, what kinds of dreams, visuals, imagination do you have to say, if my child achieves this, that means they are incredibly successful? On the chat box, ladies and gentlemen, I'd love to know your opinion on the subject, which is how do you describe a successful life for your child? What do you want them to achieve? What do you want them to have? Where you will say, okay, this means that they are successful. Over to you, ladies and gents, on the chat box. I'd love to know your opinion on what does a successful life mean to you as parents? I see work-life balance. Okay. What else? Any other thoughts, any other dreams that you have to say, if my child achieves this, that means they're successful? I see stability. I see happy and content. I see happy and satisfied living. Okay, fantastic. What else? Any other thoughts, any other dreams? Once he's happy with what he's doing and he's satisfied with the efforts he's putting in and getting the desired outcome, okay, I see peace of mind, I see mental resilience. Fantastic. Now, we've done this workshop with lakhs of parents, thousands of these sessions, and we've asked parents this exact same question. And we've got pretty much similar responses. We've got some parents who tell us, listen, we want our children to get the best of education, and that to us is the pathway to a successful life. We've got some parents tell us, listen, in this world of Shark Tank India and Startup India, we want our kids to run their own businesses and become entrepreneurs. Some parents tell us we want our kids to live a life of luxury, we want them to have financial stability, we want them to travel the world, we want them to contribute to society and make it a better place to live in. But like all of you have put up so categorically on the chat box, every single parent that we speak to has one common goal, which is they want their children to be immensely happy because they know that without happiness, there can never be productivity. Without productivity, there can rarely be success. And so every parent that we speak to tells us, boss, we want our kids to lead a happy, productive, and successful life. We want them to have a safe and secure future. And we want them to be good human beings and responsible citizens of the country. This is precisely what every parent wants for their kids across the country. Every educator, every teacher, every principal, every tuition class teacher also has the exact same goals and dreams. They want our kids to be prepared for the challenges of the 21st century. They want our kids to succeed, become amazing alumni. So everybody has these really positive, amazing goals for children. But unfortunately, reality is drastically different. In research done in India and across the world, specifically in India actually, WHO comes and says 1 in 4 teenagers in India are suffering from depression. That's 25% of teenagers in our country going through extreme unhappiness, frustration, anxiety, and all kinds of negative emotions. When every parent wants their kid to be happy, productive, and successful, every educator wants the same things. Why is it that millions of teenagers across India are going through such high levels of anxiety and frustration? It could be competition, it could be expectation mismatches, it could be lack of mental resilience, it could be too much pressure, exams, X, Y, Z. It could be a range of different reasons. But we have found that one of the biggest reasons is incorrect career and educational choices. Is students pursuing education paths or careers where they see no happiness, no hope, no positivity, no excitement, but they're pushing it because somebody has pushed them or pressurized them or influenced them to get into a certain pathway. And so in our research, we tried and investigated how do students today make their career and educational choices. And we recognized that there were 4 major pressure points that nudge students or pressurize students towards making the wrong career and educational decisions. And I'm going to take you through all of these 4 pressure points. Pressure point number 1 that emerged in our research and study of lakhs of kids across the country was parental pressure, where parents are trying to live their own dreams through their children. And it's very natural why that happens because 25 years ago, when we were making our career choices, we lived in a time of scarcity. We had limited resources, we had limited information, we had limited opportunities, we had limited everything. I mean, some of us come from a time where even the food in our house was rationed, right? Because we lived in a time and a family of scarcity. But today, our kids are the first generation of abundance. They have access everything. They have access resources, information, opportunities. Everything is available on their fingertips, all kinds of resources. Which is why often we think, okay, I couldn't do this when I was a child, but I want my child to do this. I couldn't study abroad, so I want my child to study abroad. I couldn't get into medical school or become a surgeon, so I want my child to become a surgeon. I couldn't get into the IM or, I didn't have the resources, so I want my child to. Very often we try and pass on our dreams to our children. Sometimes it's also the other way around. If, as parents, we have had immensely successful careers, where the who's who of our organizations, and we've had really, really solid career pathways. We want our child to follow the same footsteps as us. I'm an engineer, so my child must be an engineer. I'm a chartered accountant, so my child must be a chartered accountant. Because we falsely believe that we will be able to accelerate their career journeys faster than usual because of our connections and our knowledge and so on and so forth. What we fail to recognize sometimes is that if we nudge or push our kids towards career pathways that they may not necessarily like or enjoy or be passionate about, they will forever live their lives feeling like they don't belong, feeling like imposter syndrome, feeling like I don't like doing what I'm doing, so I'm not going to be productive, I'm not going to be successful. And at the end of the day, as parents, our ultimate goal is how do we help our kids find that happiness and success, not how do we get them to emulate our dreams or push them towards pathways that we want them to get into. The second pressure point is peer pressure. And this often goes very unnoticed. Where because I don't know what I want to do, I'm going to look at who are the coolest and the smartest kids in my class and can I follow their footsteps? And so often you may have conversations with your kids where you're like, okay, mom, my friends are doing science, so I want to do science. My friends want to get into fashion technology, so I want to get into fashion technology. A large segment of our children end up making their career choices basis what their friends are doing, basis what their, basis what the cool kids in class are doing, basis what the top performers are doing. A lot of times peers influence career choices. Sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly, you know. And so FOMO, fear of missing out, is how our kids end up deciding what they want to do for the rest of their lives. In the lakhs of teenagers we've interacted with and assessed and counseled and so on and so forth, we have never found two teenagers with the exact same set of interest areas, personality traits, abilities, upbringing, value system. Because at the end of the day, we're not raising cattle and sheep that need to be pushed in the same direction. All of our kids have their own unique passion, their own unique talent waiting to be uncovered and explored. We've got to enable them with that kind of opportunity instead of being comfortable with them making choices that are similar to what other people are doing. The third pressure point is academic scores, which is why very often we wait until board exam results, 10th results, 12th results before making career choices. Because we falsely believe that our kids' marks are going to be the determinant factors of what they ought to be doing for the rest of their lives. Basically, we're saying an examiner that's measuring our child's ability to memorize things has the power to decide what they ought to be doing for the next 25, 30 years. When academic scores actually have nothing to do with our kids' interest areas, with their personality traits, with their abilities. But very often, high marks, high percentages, meaning kids have to do science and engineering. Average marks, okay, commerce, finance. Really low marks, okay, humanities. That's how most people end up deciding their children's careers. Is this changing a little in urban elite colleges of our country? Yes, it is. But mentally, the mindset is still the same. And the final pressure point is socio-cultural and social media biases. Very often, the cities that we belong to, the families and cultures that we belong to, the geographies that we belong to, and the kind of content our kids consume on social media have a very direct impact on which careers they will be pursuing or not. Because there's so much bias created in their decision making. Imagine a boy walking up to his father saying, Dad, you know what? I love cooking. This is what I want to do in my life. And the angry and frustrated father saying, Are you crazy? You're going to become a cook? What will I tell my friends and family? Become a hotel management person. Not realizing that the chef of a five-star hotel earns 3 to 5 times more money than the general manager of that hotel. But there are certain preconceived notions or biases that get passed on from one generation to the other, completely messing up our kids' journey of career discovery. And it is our job to eliminate these pressure points and genuinely help our kids discover what are they passionate about and what careers are going to be relevant in the 21st century. But of course, making that decision is much harder than it looks. And I'm going to take you through 5 very critical factors that each of you must think about before your kids make their career and educational decisions? So here's a question for all the parents that are in the audience, right? So please open up your chat box and answer this question. Each of you would have made your own career decision at least 25 years ago, 20, 25 years ago. When you were making your career decision 25 years ago, how many different career options did you have to choose from? Over to you, ladies and gentlemen. Very simple question on the chat box. When you were making your career decision 25 years ago, how many different career options did you have to choose from? On the chat box, give me a number, right? How many choices, options did you have when you were deciding what you wanted to do in your career? Three to four. Okay. One, some of us didn't have a choice. We did what our parents asked us to do. Minimal exposure, limited options, three to four, four, three, one option, four to five, three to four, two. So we're all on the same page. We had extremely limited choices, extremely limited careers we could choose from. What about today? How many different career pathways do our kids have to choose from? Because on this very laptop that I'm taking this workshop on, I have an Excel sheet of 12,603 different careers, ladies and gentlemen. Take a moment and breathe that number in. Today, we have 12,603 different careers to choose from. As a family exercise over the weekend, ask your kids to sit with a piece of paper. No use of ChatGPT or no use of Google or no internet. Just sit with a notebook and list down as many careers as they can think of. And I promise you the number is not going to cross 50 or 100 different careers. If our kids can't think about 50 or 100 different careers, how do they choose one out of 12,000 and be sure that it is the right one for them? And let me illustrate this with a few examples. Today, when our kids think about science, they think about engineering or medicine. Besides the 57 different kinds of engineering and 100 different specializations in medicine, you've also got these careers: aquaculture, floriculture, architecture, agronomy, AI research, embryology, botany, biochemistry, hydrology, material science, nutritionists, pharmacy, geothermal technicians, and so on and so forth. How many of us have heard of all of these careers and know exactly what these individuals do? And these are just 26 out of 12,000 plus careers. What happens very often is a concept I call exposure bias. When we haven't heard of a career, our brain starts automatically believing that there are no opportunities in India in these careers, that there is no money in India in these careers, that these are just, very, very eccentric options that nobody knows about. But it's very far from the truth because each of these careers have immense amount of potential, of money making opportunities, especially if you have the right skills, education, and passion. For example, agriculture. Agri-tech is one of the most booming sectors in our country. From drone technology being used to spread pesticides and fertilizers on farmlands, to gene technology for better crop yield, to irrigation technology for more sustainable agriculture, to scientists researching how to grow plants on different kinds of planets, in different kinds of gravity, in different kinds of environments, as humans become a multiplanetary species. A range of different opportunities that will never get discussed in schools or colleges of our kids. But they exist, and it's important for our kids to know about them. Similarly, in the world of commerce and finance, most times kids think, okay, chartered accounts, investment banking, and today there's a culture where everybody wants to do a CFA, right? But the range of opportunities that exist within commerce and finance, most kids are heavily unaware of. From entrepreneurship to forensic accountants to actuaries to underwriters to quants to M&A to company secretaries to econometricians to hedge fund managers to wealth managers and so on and so forth. A lot of times parents come to me and say, hey, Nikhar, you're talking about these deep specializations. Our kids are in just class 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. Do they really need to think this deeply and be aware about these careers at this age, right? Or is this something they can choose much later? You're right in saying These are specializations in asking this question and saying, should our kids be thinking about them? But the answer to your question in this dynamically changing AI world and competitive world is that yes, our kids need to be knowing about these careers and thinking about these careers in class 7, 8, 9, 10. Because the truth is, right after class 11, 12, when our kids start choosing the pathways of their education, think about it. Just in the world of commerce and finance, they can choose between should I do a BBA? Should I do a BMS? Should I do a BCom? Should I do a BAF, which is Bachelor's in Applied Finance? Should I do a BFM, which is Bachelor's in Financial Management? Should I do a CFA? Should I do a CA? Should I study for my actuarial exams? Should I do a BA Economics, a BSc Economics? Should I do a Bachelor's in Financial Markets, a Bachelor's in Capital Market? How are they going to be able to make these choices if from a young age they're not thinking about what careers exist? What are these careers all about? What would I really like to do? What are each of these worlds all about? Most people end up making last minute choices because from the right age, their kids don't get enough exposure as to what is the world of work all about so that they can make a far more informed choice. Versus last minute, okay, now this is the only option remaining, let me just do it. That's how most people end up choosing their careers. And this optionality, this diversity is also the case in humanities. Some absolutely amazing career pathways from content creation to stand up comedy to VFX to animation to UI UX design to market research, illustrators, advertising, game design. A lot of times parents walk up and say, hey, but will our kids make enough money in these careers? Will they have enough ROI? Will they create enough wealth? And to me, careers are like simple economics. It's about demand and supply. If millions of people end up going only towards the same conventional career pathways, automatically the supply increases, but the demand for jobs remains the same. So value of commodity goes down. Which is why 10 years ago, an engineering MBA graduate was making a lot of money. But today, an engineering MBA graduate, unless they're from a creme de la creme institution, are making peanuts. An ISB charges 60 lakh rupees for a person to complete their MBA, but their average placement is between 25 to 30 lakh rupees, which means you end up spending 5 years in just paying off your education loan after doing that MBA. So it's a UI UX designer makes more money than a computer software engineer today because the supply of good talent is very low, but the demand for jobs is very, very high. Right? So it's very important to keep this demand supply equation in mind when our kids are thinking about their careers. Some of the most trending and high paying careers of 2026, all right, are some of these guys. Just look at some of these careers. From AR, VR designers to environmental consultants to sustainable product designers to ESG consultants to fragrance evaluators to archivists, experiential event planners, urban farmers. How many of us or our kids even have these careers on their wish list? These are careers I need to know more about list. Because most of us are victims to this demand supply problem. Every time I speak to a parent, they're constantly talking to me about getting their kids to play against probability. So everybody thrives on hope, right? Let me break down that hope in numbers for all of us. A lot of parents come to me and say, we want our kids to join the civil services. And I show them some of these numbers. I say, okay, on an annual basis, how many kids do you think apply for the civil services exam and give the civil services exam? The answer to that question is 11.5 lakh students give the civil services exams every year. For how many vacancies in the Indian administrative services and forest services and so on and so all? How many overall civil services vacancies? 956. So 11 and a half lakh kids are competing for 956 vacancies. That's a 0.083% probability that your kid is going to get into a vacancy. And that's the truth about most conventional careers. You look at CA, you look at railways, you look at banking, you look at engineering, you look at all of these careers. Same story, different chapter, right? Where the demand and supply just don't make any sense. And what happens when demand and supply doesn't make sense is push your kids to try again year after year after year. Most parents do. Say, okay, it didn't work this year, try next year, try next year, try next year. And as kids keep trying and keep failing, because they're fundamentally playing against probability, their self belief goes down, their confidence goes down, their risk taking appetite goes down. There's a waste of opportunity cost. And they forever start believing they're not good enough. Because nobody breaks down the math for them and say, hey, the race that you started in the first place didn't make any sense. Right? And most conventional careers have this issue because there are so many people trying to get into them. Even if they're passionate, even if they're not, just everybody is running that race of getting into conventional careers. But due to oversupply, so many kids don't have a job. I mean, there's a reason that the IITs and the IIMs of the world are also finding a tough time placing kids in their summer internships and, getting their final jobs. And this is only going to accelerate exponentially in the world of artificial intelligence. And we're going to talk about that next because suddenly agency and intelligence start democratized. Suddenly AI agents are doing such a large segment of work because there's nobody to sit and expose kids to opportunities that are beyond the conventional. To say, hey, if you're passionate about aviation, pilot is not the only route. You have AI powered air traffic management, you have predictive maintenance engineering, you have decision science, blockchain travel architects, sustainability, regional air mobility. So many different kinds of pathways. And a lot of times parents walk up to me and say, hey, Nikhar, you're talking about these really unconventional careers. Do our kids have the opportunity to even study in India to get into these careers? And I say, absolutely. The issue again is of exposure. Because Indian universities, private universities are experimenting, are innovating, and how? On the top left, you see Plaksha University. Most BTech programs in India, people will think, oh, civil, mechanical, automobile. Look at their BTech programs. BTech in computer science and AI, in robotics and cyber-physical systems, in biological systems engineering, in data science, economics, and business. The beauty in the combination of subjects. You got Institute of Advanced Education and Research offering a BSc in Aeronautical Science and Drone Technology. You got institutes like UPS offering BBA, not in your conventional marketing, HR, finance, but look at the subjects: analytics and big data, green energy and sustainability, logistics management, aviation. So the private university education system is innovating, but is our exposure to such courses increasing? Generally, it isn't. We keep believing that for unconventional careers, our kids have to study abroad. I'm not a big fan of sending kids abroad at a graduation level because I don't think it makes any sense. I think India has an amazing education system if you explore it correctly. And now, even from a master's perspective, lesser and lesser is it making economic sense for kids to go abroad given the general geopolitical scenarios in the world, which means exploring the right pathways in India is what's going to make a lot more sense. So that's one part of the story, the diversity of options. The second part of the story, and something that we're all here for as well, is this new beast, which is artificial intelligence and automation and robotics. Because irrespective of what people like to believe, the world of work is changing, rather has changed, and is only going to change even more over the course of the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Millions of jobs are getting wiped out, millions of very new kind of jobs are getting created. Most people are unaware of what are these new genre of generation or jobs getting created. Most people are operating in a 5 year, 2 year, 3 year old philosophy, not recognizing that AI has thoroughly changed the way that people work. In just the last 2, 3 years, we've seen AI can make music, can write code, can analyze data, can make videos, can have conversations, can design, can do medical diagnostics, can conduct research, can write content. But most people still believe ChatGPT is just some email fixing, long text reading, conversational Google like tool. They have the misbelief or the misnomer of the limitations of artificial intelligence. When you start exploring agentic AI technology, you start recognizing that this is the biggest career shakeup humanity has ever seen. where 69% of white collar jobs are getting disrupted, mid level managers are being replaced by AI tools and agents, and all our kids, every single one of them, are thinking about and preparing for jobs that are not even going to exist in the next 3, 4, 5 years. We're seeing across the world, right? I mean, McKinsey released an article a couple of days ago that said we've got 60,000 employees, 25,000 of who are AI agents. Across the world, we're seeing people remove people and replace them with AI agents. IBM replaced an entire unit of their HR team with one AI agent, right? You have one of the chiefs of Google saying AI is writing 90% of my code. Right? The speed and pace at which this technology is evolving is unprecedented. And I'm going to illustrate this to all of you with a few examples. And when I show you these examples, I want you to think about how careers and industries are going to change in the next few years. In front of you is a video of an infrastructure site, of a development infrastructure site. It's a 24-hour video recording of this site that was taken and was uploaded onto Claude. So I'm going to just let the video play for you all to see, what kind of video was uploaded onto Claude. Claude is like a chat GPT by a different company called Anthropic. And this video recording was uploaded onto Claude, and Claude was told, hey, can you do an entire safety and audit analysis of the site? Can you tell us, what parts of the site are working, what part of the site are compliant and not compliant from a safety and security perspective? And within minutes, you had Claude create an entire end-to-end Excel sheet with its findings, with the action required, with the target dates, with the responsible party. You had Claude saying, okay, I can see exposed rebar ends, I can see trip hazards, I can see unmarked excavation edges, I can see vehicle pedestrian interaction zones. These are literal observations using Vision AI, where Claude has gone through that 24-hour recording and made an entire audit report to say these are the issues, this is how you fix them, this is when you need to fix it, this is who needs to fix it, and these are some notes I'd like to give you. Generally, organizations would pay consultants hundreds of thousands of dollars to do work like this, to come and sit and analyze their site and create a safety and audit report, which was completely done using Claude, right? A lot of people come and say, hey, with technology evolving, our careers in coding, careers in software going to explode, and are we going to have a lot more jobs in software engineering? And my answer to their questions is over the course of the next year maximum, most software engineering jobs are going to be defunct. People who sit and write code are not going to be employed. People who use AI to build their code, to conceptualize their apps, to think about their architecture are going to have jobs. So people who purely sit and write code are going to be completely replaceable. And I'm going to show you this through an example. In front of you is an AI agent called Replit. All right. This is an AI agent that does end-to-end coding of any kind of app or video game or anything that you want to create. Which means if I come to this AI agent and I type a simple thing, and I've just typed it in advance and kept it so I don't waste your time. I've just typed, I want to build an app that will help me manage my household finances, credit card bills, budgets, save money, invest money in different asset classes, and manage my entire wealth for me. That's all. I've typed pure English. As a human, I've never learned how to code, and all I have to do is click start, right? And what this agent will start doing is it will start end-to-end coding this entire app on my behalf. So on the left side, you'll see it working. On the right side, you'll see preview available soon, which means it's sitting and coding this app. In about a minute or 2 minutes, you will see Replit, because I did this just about 10 minutes, about an hour ago, you'll see, right? Because, again, didn't want to waste your time and waiting for the app to be coded. So I put this exact prompt just about an hour ago. And in about 15 minutes, you had Replit code this end-to-end app right? The app that you see to your left, which can be published, which has different sections from what are my accounts, my checking account, my emergency savings account, my rewards on my credit card. If I want to add an account, I can do that. My transactions over the course of, the last month, right? What are these transactions? I can click and add any transaction, income as well as expenses. I can look at mapping my budgets. What is my budget? How much have I spent? How much am I over budget? Do I need to add any? This entire app was coded savings goals, investments. Where am I adding investments? You'll see I can add any kind of asset classes and investments to this, and I can publish this app end to end, right? This entire app was coded in 20 minutes with me having zero knowledge of how to code. All that I had was an imagination and the knowledge of English that I typed what I wanted to build, and now I can keep editing it, keep changing it, keep building on it. So think about how careers in software engineering and coding are going to evolve when you really don't need to know how to code, how to sit and program, how to sit and write any other languages. All you need to know is how to imagine. And you have AI agents that can sit and do the entire end-to-end coding on your behalf. In lots of organizations, including my own, 80-90% of software engineering and coding work is being done by AI, by agents like Claude and Cursor and Emergent and Bolt and so many different kinds of AI agents that manage end-to-end coding. Let's assume that I wanted to sit in front of you and I wanted to build an end-to-end game, like a video game, right? In front of you is a general AI agent called Manas, right? And let's build a fun, exciting game where I come to Manas and I say I want to create a web-based game in Mario style of a character discovering which careers are AI proof and which careers are not. And it'll be like a career guidance game, but in the Mario style, playable without any kinds of downloads. And I say, okay, I want you to build this entire game for me. You will see this AI agent sitting and in visualizing what should the game be all about, what should the mechanics be, what should the content be, what should the architecture of the game be, right? And so on and so forth. And as I keep clicking continue and as I keep asking it to build this game, it will build the end-to-end game for me. As you'll be able to see, I built this entire game from scratch, right? Where I can actually sit and play this game and travel around and it can see what kind of careers are found and so on and so forth. Right? I can use the arrow keys to move and jump and collect stars and so on and so forth. And this entire game can be built, published from scratch, completely using AI. You see, use arrow keys to move and jump, collect stars to discover careers. Green are safe from AI, red are vulnerable to AI, right? I mean, imagine this. Imagine how the job of a video game designer or somebody who sits and builds and codes video games is going to change exponentially. And this is not just in the coding industry, it's even in the creative industries. So, for example, I'm on an AI agent that builds videos end to end, right? That builds films and scripts end to end, generates videos from scratch. And I've sat and I've typed student in an Indian school turning into superheroes and fighting crime, right? And you'll be able to see, I don't know if my sound is shared. I'm going to stop sharing and share my sound because you have to see the beauty of the sound as well. So I'm just going to share my sound and hopefully you all can hear it, right? But look at the video it created in like 10 seconds.
They're inside the gates. Then we stop them. Ready? Always. We protect our home.
So this entire video, I mean, it was created in 20, 25 seconds. Now think about how careers in filmmaking, careers in animation, careers in VFX, careers in advertising and production are going to change very, very drastically if anybody with an AI agent, a laptop, and knowledge of how to use AI can create anything, literally any kind of video. And you see organizations across the world, you see filmmakers across the world starting to use AI and agentic AI in their work. And this kind of technology, irrespective of which industry it is in, is going to drastically change the future of work. And which is why the question that we must ask ourselves today is, are our kids studying for careers that are going to cease to exist, irrespective of which industry they want to operate in? irrespective of what kind of work they wish to do. And do we need to help them figure out which careers are future proof? Do we need to help them sit and figure out what kind of skills to start building such that they're relevant citizens in the 21st century? The name of the video making AI is Higgs Field. Lots of tools. Higgs Field is one of them. You got Nano Banana that can do this. You got a range of different tools that can do this. And I prepared one other thing that I wanted to show you. There's another agent that I use very often called GenSpark.ai, where all I have typed on this agent is I want to create a 20 slide presentation on how is AI going to impact various careers and jobs in India and across the world. That is all that I have typed. And it has built an end to end presentation of what kind of jobs are going to stay, what kind of jobs are going to go. And it's a beautifully designed presentation with India specific data and research in terms of what kind of jobs are at risk, what kind of jobs are not at risk, what kind of careers are being transformed, what the new work pattern is going to be. You see, this entire presentation end to end completely created by AI. From the research to the design to the presentation building, all of it. And I think it looks really good, right? From the icons to the design to the animations, end to end completely built by AI. Right? So this is the pace at which this technology is evolving, and I think it becomes critical for all of us to say, hey, we need to help our kids choose the right careers and education pathways that are going to be relevant. And so that's the second complexity, that all of us must think about it. Don't worry, I'm here to help you solve these challenges, not just, to give you this knowledge and this information. The third problem statement that I see when it comes to career and educational decision making is a lot of parents in today's age of parenting believe that liberal parenting is the right way to go. Because the modern parent is a very, I will let my kid do whatever they want to do. I don't put any pressure. I don't put any this. I don't, whatever my kid wants to do, I will say go ahead and do. It's a very Ja Simran Ji Le Apni Zindagi kind of approach to parenting, right? And a lot of people think it's cool. I think it's very lazy to think about career decision making and parenting as monkey off my back, let the kid do whatever they want to do. I'm just here to finance them. Because if we as parents don't know anything about 12,000 different careers, our kids are not going to either. If we as parents can't predict which careers will be, AI proof and which careers won't be, our kids will not be able to either. And so it's a little irresponsible, in my opinion, to say let the kids do whatever they want to do because our kids are at a highly influenceable age. Every kind of social media content they're watching, every kind of friend they're interacting with, teacher they're interacting with, I mean, these are all shaping them. They're still malleable, right? Which means that every 6 months they may want to do something completely different. And their reasons for deciding careers might be completely irrelevant. I've seen children watch a TV show called Suits, right? American TV show about glamorized corporate lawyers and decide that they want to become a lawyer. Completely broken away from reality to say what does Indian law, court kacheri, how does it look like, what does life look like? No, they watch the TV show and decide this is what I want to do. And then when they get into these careers, it's so shocking for them to say, what had I imagined versus what have I gotten into, that creates unhappiness and frustration. Because the expectation in itself was incorrect. Now, as parents, you are all going to spend a lot of money on your kids' education. You are all going to spend a lot of money on your kids' career, right? From your school fees to your coaching classes to your books and support material to your post graduation. You will all, on average, end up spending between 20, 30, 40 lakh rupees. If your kid wants to study abroad, then easily triple or quadruple of this amount, which is a significant amount of your life savings invested in your kid's career and education. Have you ever thought what happens if your kid begins college, begins their career, and then realizes, sorry, boss, I'm not having fun? Or the career only is irrelevant, doesn't exist anymore. All that time, effort, energy, and money invested is actually wasted. And so it's very critical that we look at this as any investment, as a long-term investment, but it's planned logically, right? It's not planned emotionally. Because our entire journey of career decision making for our kids Whether it's as they're getting from class 6, 7 to class 8 and deciding which subjects to choose, as they're getting into class 9, 10 and figuring out which stream, which subjects to start taking, as they get into class 11, entrance exams, colleges, which bachelor's degree is right for them or not, which specialization they should start choosing. Now, in class 7, 8, 9, 10 is the best time to start thinking about this, not making final decisions, but increasing exposure, thinking about it, understanding themselves better, so that last minute these decisions are not left up to fate and serendipity. They're properly planned. There are logical steps as to why am I doing, what am I doing, and what is that journey going to look like through the course of the next 6 to 8 years. And to be able to ensure that our kids are making better and more accurate career choices is why Presidency School and Mentoria has come together to say, can we help your children discover themselves? Can we help them discover their future worlds? And can we mentor them for the next 6 to 8 years such that they get into relevant careers they love? Such that they live that happy, successful life that we all dream of. And so, over the course of the next 10, 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you the solution to say, yes, there is a problem. How do we sit together and solve this problem? What is this solution, this Mentoria and Presidency Career Discovery Program all about? Because this entire program involves 5 or 6 different steps that are critical for you to understand. The first step of this program, of this solution, is we are going to give your child access to India's most reliable psychometric assessment. All right. This is a scientific assessment that measures your child's core interest areas, their personality traits, and their abilities. For us to dive deeper into their psychology, for you to better understand their core likes, dislikes, preferences, motivators, personality traits, abilities, this 45-minute assessment is going to use a combination of technology and psychology to sort of give us a deeper understanding of what is going on in our kids' minds. This is not like some random aptitude test that your kids may have given. This is a very holistic psychometric assessment that has been built by some of the best psychologists and psychometricians in the country. From the chief psychologist of DRDO that has spent 30 years in creating assessments for the Indian Army, to the HOD psychology of Ferguson College and Jamia Millia University, to some of the top brains from the British Psychological Society built this assessment. It takes about 45 minutes for your kids to complete it. They take it once every 2 years to continue mapping out what is it, that are there any changes, additions, subtractions in context of their career journeys, right? Although the variance is very small, reliability of this is very high. It's a 85% reliability. But to be sure that they're moving in the right direction, every 2 years we administer the psychometric assessment to ensure that your kids are moving in the right direction. And so that's the first stage, which is this very comprehensive psychometric assessment. And as soon as your kids complete the psychometric assessment, by the way, this kind of report is generated where you see, right? Give me a moment. Where you'll see we measure 19 different interest areas of your kid. Are they realistic? Do they like using their hands and physical body to do things? Are they investigative? Do they love technology, research, maths, sciences? Are they very artistic? Do they love the creative pursuits? 19 different kinds of interest areas are measured to figure out, well, what are your kids really passionate about? What is the difference between a hobby and a long-term interest area? What will they sustainably like to do over the course of time versus temporarily like to do just for the next 6 months? And that's how we figure out your kid's primary interest area, your kid's secondary interest area. And depending on all their interest areas, an AI driven matching algorithm out of the 12,000 different careers figures out which are the top 10 careers that your kids will enjoy and excel at. And then we dive into your kids' personality traits. Are they introverts? Are they extroverts? Are they conventional? Are they open to change? What is their emotional stability all about? What motivates them? How do they react in different environments? Because different personality traits form strengths and development areas for different kinds of careers. If your kid wants to get into a career in marketing and entrepreneurship but is a complete introvert, we're going to have to work on that to move towards ambiversion. If your kid is very, very trusting, right? Careers like forensic science, income tax auditing, due diligence needs them to be extremely doubting. Different personality traits form strengths and development areas for different kinds of careers, and understanding them becomes the first step. And then we dive into abilities, verbal, numerical, abstract reasoning of your children to understand what is their general intelligence really all about. And these are the best predictors of job and career success. And this becomes the first step of Presidency School and Mentoria's career mentorship program. The second step, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to connect your children to certified career counselors. We've got 1600 plus career counselors. All right. Lots of them across Bangalore, right? These are all psychologists, HR professionals, or educators. So, CHROs, HR heads of companies, top deans of colleges, educators, principals, some amazing senior psychologists, all people with 15 to 40 years of experience, very seasoned experts who've been trained and certified in career mentorship. They conduct 4 to 8 career mentorship sessions with your kids over the course of the next 6 to 8 years. Each session is 90 to 120 minutes where they're sitting with you, they're sitting with your kid, either through an online session or an offline session in Bangalore, depending on whatever is comfortable for all of you. Right. So if you want to do the session from your homes, no problem. You want to go to one of Mentoria centers in Bangalore and meet the career counselor face to face, no problem. In these sessions, they sit with you, they sit with your kid, and first interpret what's come out on the psychometric report. They ask your kids a lot of questions about their background. They ask your kid a lot of questions about their behaviors and try and validate their behaviors with their real life experiences with the psychometric report. They help your children understand their strengths and their development areas. And they try and help your child figure out what are the top 3, 4, 5, 7, 10 careers that they might really enjoy and excel at. They try and sit and build a pathway to say from where you are to where you want to be. What is the general direction? What are the other directions that you can take? What kind of skills do you need to start building? And because the same counselor is with your kid for the next 6, 7, 8 years, whatever kinds of changes in their behavior, changes in their thinking, changes in their thought process, their evolution, the same counselor is privy to them and is able to give you and your kid enough information from psychometrics, from their own knowledge, from their own experience to help your child make decisions like what subjects do I choose, what streams do I choose, what colleges, where do I do my high school, what board do I get into, what entrance exam do I need to be. So the decision making starts happening through conversations with the career coach. And the reason that it's not one counseling session and 4 to 8 over the course of your child's entire journey is because we don't believe in transactional mentorship. For us, mentorship is over the course of 6 to 8 years until your kid gets into a career they love. We will ensure that they have access to the same career counselor who's mentoring them, guiding them, understanding them, building a chemistry with them, building a rapport with them, and helping them and you make the right career and educational choices. And just so you're on the same page with respect to what do I mean by career counselors, and for you to see the kind of profiles of some of our career counselors, you see the kind of people that your kids will be mentored by or guided by, you'll see. These are the kind of people. From educational psychologists to deans of colleges to PhDs in different kinds of fields to seasoned professionals with decades of experience in education and corporate, right? Who will be working with your kids to help them make the right career and educational choices. And that becomes the second stage of this entire program. The third stage, like I said, for us, mentorship is lifelong. For us, mentorship is being with your kid for the next 6 to 8 years in their journey of career discovery, not just assessing them once, not just doing the counseling once. No, is mentoring them, right? Is why as soon as the counseling sessions, the first session is done, because there are multiple sessions, they keep happening over the course of time. As soon as the first session is done, your children have access to Mentoria's app and dashboard, where whatever careers they have chosen for themselves, whatever pathways they wish to explore, we start giving your kids information and verified information on what is this pathway all about. We start helping them visualize what are they going to do on a day-to-day basis, what kind of work are they going to be doing, what kind of environments are they going to be sort of thriving in, what is the pathway that they need to take to get there, right? What are the skills that they need to start building, and how do they build these functional and soft skills? How will their growth trajectories look like within their career over the course of time? If they're pursuing it in India or outside India, what is the difference in scope and opportunities? How much money can they hope to make over what period of time? And what are the various specializations they can potentially pursue within their career? Which companies can they work with? What are the myths about the career? How is AI and automation coming into this career and changing its future? This kind of knowledge or information will be given to your kids about their chosen careers, but on our platform, you'll see it is there on thousands of careers. Whether your kid wants to become a marine biologist or an AI researcher or get into the army or become an entrepreneur, whatever, aerospace engineer, whatever career your kid wants to get into, it's our job to help them visualize what their future world is going to look like so they can make better and more informed career choices. It is also our job to, as they get into college, as they get into 11th and 12th, help them plan their graduation and their post graduation, which means the entire college admission process, selection, admission, application, figuring out which are the degrees, when are the applications, which are the scholarships, what are the fees, when is the right time to apply, what is the admission criteria, all of that information is going to be shared by us to you such that your kids' entire admission process, once they get into complete the 11th, 12th, and they're about to get into college, their entire admission process is seamless. You don't miss out on any deadlines. You don't miss out on any, entrance exam applications. What is the curriculum about? How do I prepare for it? All of that will be taken care of by this career mentorship program. One of my favorite things, and I think this will add immense value to all of your kids, is we will also be connecting your children to working professionals or experts in their chosen career, which means whichever career your child chooses to pursue. Mentoria will connect them to an expert in that career. By an expert, I mean somebody who has 10, 15, 20 years of experience, who through a live webinar will help your children understand what is the good, bad, ugly of this career. How do I step in? What can I expect in the first few years? And your kids will be able to ask these experts questions directly. You will be able to ask them these questions directly. So that you not only have access to a career coach, but a seasoned working professional in the career your kid wants to get into, who you can question, ask, get whatever details you want from, and make far more informed choices. And irrespective of which career your kid wants to get into, we find them an expert in their career. Once your kid is in college, once your kid is graduation, post graduation, Mentoria has built its own set of AI agents that take care of your kid's entire job and internship application and processing journey. Which means if your kids want internships, your kids want jobs, we have a set of interconnected AI agent that builds your child's CV, that builds their LinkedIn profile, that finds the relevant jobs and internships for them, that applies to those jobs, follows up with recruiters, gets your children interviews, and ensure that they're working with the best organizations. So all of this is done through our own AI agents, and we call this ARIA, this platform ARIA, which is also something your kids will have access to once they get into college, once they want internships. So, from education to employment, our job, or this program's job, is to keep mentoring and guiding your children throughout their journey of career discovery. In fact, as part of the program, one of the things that we also do are AI skill development workshops. We conduct group workshops for your kids to teach them how to use AI, teach them how to use different kinds of agents, extend their imagination, think about entrepreneurial things, making music, coding, research, design. We do these group sessions to ensure that kids are building their own set of AI skills and becoming more and more future proof. On a quarterly basis, we help you as parents and your kids understand AI's impact in their career. what skills they need to start building, different kinds of learning resources that are given to your kids to start figuring out how to become AI ready and how to sort of, navigate the future of work, right? And through these multiple steps, whether it's the assessment, whether it's the counseling, whether it's the platform, the mentorship, the AI skill development, connecting your kids with professionals, helping them find internships and jobs, our goal is to help them take control of their lives and guide them from clutter to utmost clarity. Because we will only be happy when your kids are in careers they love, are happy with their jobs, are, financially independent, and our success is that, right? Our success is not completing one counseling session, no. Which is why we are the highest and most rated career mentorship platform in the country today. Right? So if your kid is in class 6, just moving to 7, if your kid is in class 7, just moving to 8, 9, right? Then this is what this program is called. This program is called Discover Gold AI, where your kid is going to have access to Mentoria's psychometric assessment once every 2 years. So right now, again in class 9th, again in class 11th, again in college, every 2 years your kid will have access to our psychometric assessment to see if there are any variances, to understand how their interest, personality traits, abilities are evolving over the course of time. Your kid will have access to the career coach that we collectively decide for your child for 8 sessions from now until your kid completes their graduation. The same career coach will be spending between 90 to 120 minutes over the course of your kid's entire journey, right? So you will have access to the same coach that your kid is talking to over multiple years. You will have access to our entire reports, our platform, right? Mentorship reports and action plans after every counseling session. Lifelong access to our platform, all of the things that I've spoken to you about, the AI skill development sessions, resume building, internship applications, skill development, all of this, right, is part of the Discover Gold AI program, right? So that's what the program is called. If your kid is in class 10, 11, or 12, the program is called Achieve Gold AI, where they have access to the assessments. The counseling sessions are lesser. Instead of 8 sessions, they need lesser number of sessions. They need 4 sessions. Your kid will have access to 4 sessions instead of 8 with the same career coach. Everything else pretty much remains the same. The platform, the AI sessions, the reports, the college admissions, the guidance throughout, everything else pretty much remains the same, right? And the AI skill development workshops and the updates are there as part of all the programs, right? So that's how we're going to solve for the problem that we spoke about at the start. And this is what the program price is, right? This is what the career discovery program investment is. For any of you who have kids in class 7 to 9, the Discover Gold AI program, the investment on a like actual investment is 17,000 rupees. If your kid is in class 10 to 12, the actual investment is 12,600 rupees. This is not annually, this is not monthly, this is one time. We charge one time and we're with your kids for the next 6 to 8 years in their journey of career discovery. Given we've partnered with the school and given we're around Republic Day, we have certain offers, discounts, and scholarships. Until 26th of January, we have a Republic Day scholarship of 26%. It's 26 January, 26%. So if you choose to invest in this program by the 26th of January, instead of 17,000, you get a 26% scholarship and you invest 12,750. If you choose to invest in the 10th through 12th program, depending on which age group your kid is in, the 26% discount makes the 12,600 to 9,300. Remember, these are still one-time investments for 6 to 8 years of access to our programs. If you choose to invest after 26th of January, let's assume you need more time to think or whatever, all right, then the scholarship or the discount reduces from 26% to 10%. So instead of 12,750, you'll be paying 15,300. Instead of 9,300, you'll be paying 11,339. These are all for online counseling sessions. If you want to meet the counselor face to face, if you want to sort of go to one of our centers, for as many counseling sessions you take offline or at Mentoria Center, you end up paying 750 per session. So if out of 8 sessions that your kid has, you want to take 3 offline and the remaining 5 online, only for the 3 that you take offline, you end up paying an additional 750 per session. But that's what the investment for this entire program looks like. It's one time and we're with your kids for the rest of their journey of career discovery. There's no recurring payment, there's no additional charges, no hidden stuff. It's very transparent and clear for us. From a next steps perspective, you will all receive access to this entire presentation. You will receive access to a recording of this entire session. Every single piece of information I've shared with you, we've recorded, and we're going to give you access to this recording, right? If your spouses, if your partners, if anybody in your family hasn't been able to join the session, you can give them the recording, you can give them the presentation, and they can go through it, right? On your WhatsApp numbers. If you haven't registered, and we can give this access only to people who have registered on the registration form that the school sent out to you, because that's the only space where we've gotten your number, right? So if you've registered, you will get access to it. If you haven't registered, do register it. My team will send the registration form right now on the chat box. So if you haven't registered, just register and we'll send you the content. After you go through all the content, the recording, you can make an informed decision of whether you'd like to subscribe to our program, our solution, or not. Either way is okay, right? After you subscribe or invest in the program, we will ensure that your kid gets an account on mentoria.com. They complete their psychometric assessment, right? And we will set up their first counseling session. You can choose both online and offline. We've got centers in Bangalore across the city. So within a 3, 4, 5 kilometer radius of where you stay, we will have a center, we will have a counselor. So you don't need to worry if you want it offline. Online, though, I mean, you can get it in the comfort of your home whenever you want. We work 7 days of the week from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So whenever you want a session, we can set it up for you. And then your kid will have access to the entire program. All right. So that's primarily what the next steps look like. And I'm going to now move to the Q&A session. But before I move to the Q&A session, another thing that I wanted to give you for any parents that don't have the time to stick around for Q&A. I also wanted to share my own personal mobile number with all of you, my number, right? In case any of you want to connect with me on anything specific, you want to have a conversation, you want to ask more questions, you can do that. I've just sent the number to you. But I am going to do a live Q&A session, so don't worry about the questions that you may have. But this is what we wanted to share with you in terms of, how do career decisions look like, and how can our kids make better and more informed decisions. Now, over to you, ladies and gentlemen. Any questions that you have, please feel free to either raise your hand on Zoom and I will unmute you and you can ask your questions, or put up your questions on the chat box and I will answer them one by one. Any questions that any of you have. All right. So I have one question. I'm going to unmute you. Please feel free to ask your question.
Thank you, Nikhar. First of all, nice, very good. The way you presented it, really good. Thank you for this. And I think so, as a parent, we all needed something like this. So, just I wanted to know, my kid is in ninth grade. So, how many mentor sessions would be there in this period of 7 to 8? Like, roughly, what would be
Eight.
the number?
Eight
Eight.
sessions,
Okay. So,
right?
it's like yearly once.
So generally we do yearly ones, but
Okay.
in the event that we feel that some years need two or some years need three, we increase that number. So for example, in the key decision making years, end of class 10th or end of class 12th or during college admissions, we try and do maybe two or three. We customize it depending on the need of the parent and the child. So if we say one a year, it's not restrictive. If you want one more session in a couple of months or in a couple of days, we set that up, no problem.
Okay. Like I understand it may be little charge more as you also mentioned if we want offline or something like that. So just wanted to know there are customizable option also because
Absolutely.
uncertainty or like there is more apprehension at particular age like 11, 12 they would need little more.
Yeah.
And psychometry also how frequent it would be like you did mention some variants may come into that. So
Once in
what
2 years.
once in 2 year. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
And there's
Sure.
there's
Hmm.
never any additional charge for psychometrics, right? So the program is such that you invest once and we're with you for the next 6 to 8 years. So your kids' assessment in ninth, in 11th, again, first year of college is all covered as part of the same program.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to now move to the next question. I think Ritu has a question. Ritu, I've unmuted you. Please feel free to ask your question. No, can't hear you, Ritu. I've unmuted you again. You'll have to click on, yes, you're good now.
Yeah, so thanks so much for this session. Quite enlightening. Wish we had so many career options when we started out, but really good. And you have covered quite a few interesting topics. Just a couple of thoughts from my end.
Sure.
I think you did mention that the child would be aligned to one particular career counselor for a period of 6 to 8 years, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you say that, and I know that things keep changing, they are moving at a very fast rate with all of these AI disruptions and interventions and whatever it is in the industry, right? I
Yeah.
myself come from an investment banking industry. So, my question to you is if you are aligning one single career counselor over the period of 6 to 8 years, which is quite a long period, right? Depending on, because my son is in grade 10 right now,
Yeah.
so I would assume that the counselor would also be, upgrading him or herself with the latest information.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I mean, do you guys sort of switch counselors? I mean, I assume it will work. It's
Yeah.
just like a mentor-mentee relationship, right? It's a
Yeah.
two-way street.
Yeah.
But similarly, for a counselor and the child, if it is not working, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys sort of figure that out?
Wonderful question. Wonderful question, Ritu. So, number one, every single Mentoria counselor has first been trained, evaluated, and certified by us. Number two, it is our job to ensure that we're upgrading the skills and knowledge of every counselor as much as it is their own job. So, they're self educating, but every
Mhm.
counselor that we have has to participate in mandated skill development and knowledge development workshops that we host for them once a month at least, where we
Mhm.
educate them on the new careers that are coming, new researches that are coming, because we've got teams that are constantly analyzing every industry, every kind
Mhm.
of career, and forecasting based on the new and evolving technology what careers are going to have opportunities, what are not going to have opportunities at a
Mhm.
national and international scale. And we're doing this in collaboration with industry experts, with AI researchers, and so on and so forth. So we do the research and then ensure that our counselors are upgraded, ensure that that research is
Mhm.
shared with not just the people using the platform, but also with the career coaches. Generally, we try and keep the same coach because the chemistry and the understanding between the mentor and mentee play
Mhm.
an important role for a kid's ability to open up and share and, converse. And, when the same counselor is sort of part of the entire journey, you don't have to keep re-explaining context, which is
Yeah.
actually very, very important. But if the chemistry is a mismatch, if the parent
Mhm.
or the child believes that, listen, I think there's a mismatch in chemistry and we need a different counselor. After every counseling session, the counselor prepares a report and a reflective summary that is put up on our platform. So when
Mhm.
there is a shift of counselor or a change of counselor, context over the course of multiple sessions is shared with the new counselor such that it doesn't have to be rebuilt.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
yes, there are times, rare times where parents have said, listen, we'd like to switch up our career counselor or
Mhm.
coach. Sometimes it is even so that if you're with an offline counselor and you're moving geographies, you may want another offline counselor in the new geography you're in. And we've got
Correct.
we've got coaches across 52 cities. Right. So
Mhm.
that does happen, and we have systems and processes in place to ensure that that transition is seamless.
Okay.
One thing that I did forget to mention is every parent and kid also has access to Mentoria's career helpline, which is a 12 hours a day, 7 days a week WhatsApp call and email channel where you can reach
Mhm.
out unlimited number of times to Mentoria for any other questions you have, any other research you need, any other expert interactions you want for us to set up for your kids, right?
Okay.
There are lots of times parents even call us and say, okay, we're in this part of Bangalore, we want to know which are the top entrance coaching classes. Or, we want our kid to meet with an expert in this industry. Can you set that up for us? So a lot of
Okay.
these customizable requests keep coming to us, and we try and ensure that, to the best of our abilities, we organize that
Mhm.
because our network across multiple careers and industries is very, very strong.
Got it. No, this is helpful. I think you answered my second question is what if I transition to a new city?
Yeah,
I hope the process is also smooth. I don't have to sort
absolutely.
of struggle. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Nikar.
Absolutely. Thanks a ton, Ritu. Appreciate it. All right, Venu has a question. I have unmuted you. Please feel free to ask, and then I'll move to Anzira.
Good afternoon, Mr. Arora.
Oh,
Very interesting presentation, I must say.
thank you.
I mean, it was quite an eye-opener. Question number one, if you're transitioning from one city to the other at a later point of time,
Yeah.
uh, I mean, what do you do with the online sessions? Do you continue with the same person or do you go on to another person?
Same person.
As a-
If it's
Same person as
online,
a
then the
mentor.
same counselor can continue. Unless you want
Right.
an offline counselor in the new city, then we transition the counselor. But I mean, generally, it's better to have the same counselor, irrespective of which city you're in.
Right. Question two. This was my main question. Do you help in undergrad admissions for children, especially in the upcoming or the established private universities like Flame, Sai, etc.?
Absolutely. And by help in admissions, I mean from understanding which is the right university to figuring out
Yes,
when to apply, how to apply, important things to do in their application processes, what are the scholarships available. Do we physically do the application filling process for you? No, but we ensure that you are taken till the lake and then the drinking of the water is done by the child himself or herself. So everything you need in the process is given by us to you. Actually, physically doing the application and filling it up is something that
got it.
you have to do.
Right. My third question is, when do you start the psychometric sessions and the first counseling session? Because mine is a 10th grader again.
Yeah.
So boards are up very soon. So how have you planned that out?
So our thought process is psychometric assessment is going to take 45 minutes. Counseling
Right,
sessions are going to take, the first session is going to take about 2 hours. And so we do
right,
it now. We're just done with the pre-boards. Boards are still a couple of weeks away. So we do it now because it doesn't take too much of the child's time. Because it so happens that if your kid wants to get into 11th and 12th, of course, choosing the subjects for 11th and 12th, figuring out which schools are offering opportunities of what variety happens now, right?
right,
And very often that decision making has to happen. We also ensure, by the way, and again, something I missed mentioning, if kids are in class 10th and 12th, as part of the program, we also offer exam stress management sessions, which means that, and this is no at no extra cost, which means that the counselors are also equipped to do sessions on exam stress management. We've got a portal that has a lot of amazing content on exam stress because I know that that becomes a key point of contention, right? So we try and ensure that that aspect, the focus aspect, is also managed during these counseling sessions. So we do it now, just to answer your question in a simpler way. However, if you have a major reservation in saying, no, I want to get the counseling done only after the board exams, then okay, we'll schedule them after the board exams. But our recommendation will always be it's not going to take up so much time that is going to distract the kid from studies. In fact, it will help them focus better, it will help them be more clear, and so might as well get it done immediately.
all right. Thank you so much. That answers all my queries.
Fantastic. Thank you. All right. Next, we've got On Zira. On, you have to tell me if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If not, I'm sorry.
It's Anzera.
On Zera. Okay. Fabulous. Yes. Tell me.
I was just asking, what is this VFX artist?
So VFX is, when you watch a movie and you see, let's say, a car blasting, or you see a superhero flying, or you see, some kind of non-realistic thing happening, or you see maybe an animated movie where you see a dog talking or something of that variety. So VFX artist is a person that makes that happen, that converts sketches and storyboards into real animation, real effects. So VFX full form is visual effects, right? So somebody who will add a fire in a scene, or add a smoke in a scene, or add a galaxy, or do green screening, or do that kind of stuff.
Okay. And one more thing, what are AR and VR designers?
So AR is augmented reality, VR is virtual reality. Virtual reality is, you wear those glasses or those goggles and you are transported into a completely different world. It's almost like watching a 4D movie, right? Where you can interact with things in that world. So it's virtual reality. Augmented reality is where in your own environment you are adding objects or things that don't exist, right? Through technology. So AR and VR gaming, AR and VR movies, you should see the Meta Quest, you should see AR and VR goggles or glasses for gaming and for movies. You should see Apple's VR glasses. It'll help you understand what VR, virtual reality, and augmented reality is about more.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a ton. All right, we've got Kiara who has a question. Anybody else who has questions, ladies and gents, please feel free to put them up on the chat box or raise your hand. I'm happy to answer as many questions as there are. Kiara, I've unmuted you. Please feel free to ask your question.
Hi, sir. I'm Kiara, and I have a question. I love to draw, I'm also interested in theology, which is basically because I want to ask some doubts about the religions. I
Mhm,
don't know.
mhm,
I'm just interested in them.
mhm.
So, do you have any uh, suggestions of any app? So I have many questions related to art, I think, because I don't know. I like music, I like dance, I like drawing, and I like almost everything. So I don't know what exactly to do. So
Kiara, you're making a strong case for me, and I appreciate that because that's precisely why career mentorship is needed, right? At the age that you're at, it's natural for you to have so many interests and natural for you to have so many questions and, ask questions about theology and art and music and so on and so forth, and find it relatively difficult to figure out how do I merge these multiple interest areas? How do I find something that'll allow me to do all of these things that are interesting to me. But it's possible that you have theological questions today, questions about different religions today, and once they're answered, maybe you want nothing to do with theology in your career. It's possible. I'm not saying it's true, I'm saying it's possible. It's possible that once you've made a couple of songs with AI or yourself, or once you've understood music theory, that you may want nothing to do with it in terms of your day to day profession. Maybe it's just a hobby, maybe it's just a passion of yours, right? All of these are possibilities. I'm not saying they're true. The beauty of a scientific career mentorship process is it helps you navigate what is short term versus what is long term. It gives you as much information as you need in terms of all of these pathways, what are the career options available, and helps you make a more solid decision. Because once you know in music, what are the careers, theology, what are the careers, what are they all about, what am I going to do day to day, what are really my likes and dislikes. And once you have all that information, it becomes much simpler for you to decide what do I want to spend the next few years of my life doing, or the next 10, 15, 20 years of my life doing. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Okay, super. Thanks,
thank
Kiara.
you.
All right, I know Purnima has a question. Purnima, one second. I'm just going to unmute you. Christ, I can't find you on my screen. Yeah, there you are. Yes, Purnima, I've unmuted you. Please feel free to ask your question.
Yeah, hi Nika. So my son is in grade 10,
Okay.
about to write his board exam. So previously, we have already met a counselor, and he has given psychometry test also, because we wanted to take admission for grade 11. Like
Yeah.
nowadays it's very early.
Yeah.
So he has already taken up PCMC also in one of the colleges. So you think I should come back to your sessions after he completes grade 12? Like, how does it help in grade 11 and 12 if at all I take up your sessions?
So the question, very honestly, Purnima, is if your son is crystal clear after that assessment and that counseling session, it was very reliable. There's complete knowledge and clarity of from AI awareness to college to internships. If that entire journey is being supported already by somebody, no problem. I mean, then maybe you want to continue with that person. But if you believe that there is an ounce of it was only one test and one counseling, and now your son is up to himself to figure out what he needs to do for the rest of his journey, then we're the right platform. And now we're the right platform, not later, right? It's because one, we can help validate if your kid is on the right path. Number two, we can ensure that in the 11th and 12th, all the AI skill development sessions happen, the college admission planning, the entrance exam planning, all of that is done, right? The platform access and the expert access that your kid gets, meeting professionals in their chosen careers, becomes very interesting to ensure that they're on the right path. As they get into college, figuring out the college admissions, the applications, the internships, the job. The beauty of this platform, Purnima, is the fact that it is mentorship for 6 to 8 years. It's not transactional. It's not just test and counseling and figuring out which career. Until your son gets into the career and loves the work that he's doing, all the aspects of education to employment are taken care of by us.
Yeah.
right? So if you believe that that would add value to both, your journey and your son's journey, because I know, you want the best for him, right? Then of course we'd love to help.
Yeah. So actually, it wasn't based purely on psychometry also, since he had interest in, maths and physics especially.
Yeah.
So based on those interests also, like he thought like he should continue with PCMC and he
Yeah.
didn't want bio. Like as you say, I think next 2 years, I think it would be a wonderful journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
with your sessions. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Looking forward to helping, and mentoring your son in every way that we can.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Purnima. All right, next up, we've got Farah. Farah, I've unmuted you. Please feel free to ask your question. Farah, we can't hear you. Still can't hear you. I can see you unmuted, but we can't hear you. Okay, maybe it's a mic issue, Farah. Maybe you want to type your question out on the chat box and send it across. Happy to answer it there. Any other questions and any other feedback, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to either raise your hand or, put your comments on the chat box. I'd also love to know what you thought of this workshop. Was it helpful, irrespective whether you choose to invest in the Mentoria program or not? I hope the workshop added some value, gave you some context, enough information about how, to think about the future of careers and work. I'd love to get any feedback that you have on, you're happy that Presidency School organized this session. So any feedback on the chat box would be amazing. Any other questions, please feel free to let me know. All right, I don't see any more questions coming up on the chat box or otherwise, so I think we can conclude. Thank you so much. Oh, there's one. Sorry. What about if the student wants to pursue his education abroad post graduation? We help with that too, Farah. Whether in India or across the world, our support is unconditional to geography or career, right? So we help with the entire knowledge of admissions abroad as well, SOPs, essays, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, ladies and gents. Can we get on a call right after this call? Absolutely, Bala, we can do that. No sweat at all. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for taking the time out and joining us here today. It was a pleasure to meet you all, and I hope to be of as much help as me and my team can in your kids' journeys of career discovery. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Cheers.